Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in and being a part of this evening. Today's evening is going to be really very exciting. So I, on behalf of TCS iON, Jyoti, welcome you to our Jobinar for today. The Jobinar is from average to awesome. Unlock your job prospects with proficient business communication. I welcome all of you, but for people who are asking what is a Jobinar, and people who've been attending already know, but for the first timers, TCS Jobinar is a program through which we reach out to you all and give a perspective and about 360-degree view of what's happening in the industry, in the job world. Why have we named it a Jobinar, of course, webinar with the intent to make you understand about the job opportunities and key career streams. So every second and fourth Thursday of the month, we hold a Jobinars, and we hope to add value, in your search of a bright and rewarding career. Today's session is one such session. But to understand this, we also have to understand that in our interconnected world, proficiency in day-to-day English is more than just a skill. In fact, it's a gateway to effective communication and a cultural understanding. So proficiency in English opens up a wide range of, new opportunities in your career. In fact, in this Jobinar, we explore essential skills needed for professional success. We'll cover the principles of professional writing, ensuring your emails, your reports, proposals are very clear and effective. We learn how a business communication not only enhances practical language skills, but also empowers individuals to thrive in this globalized, interconnected world. So also along, for people who, do a little bit of study would know that along with critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication happens to be a key 21st century skill that is desired in most people entering the workforce. So join us today in our exclusive Jobinar to elevate your business communication and succeed in your career. So let's start, and I'm very pleased to introduce the panel. We have two panelists today. Let me start with Major Shirish Patil. Major Shirish is a distinguished military officer and a business leader. He's an alumnus of National Defense Academy and Indian Military Academy. In fact, he has led critical operations in Kargil, Siachen, J&K, transitioning of the corporate sector that has happened. He's earned an MBA from ISB, which is Indian School of Business, and Wharton University of Pennsylvania, USA. Post-army, in fact, he's worked with companies like Adani, Amazon in management positions, leading large global operations team. He's also founder of Turf Consulting. It's a skill development capacity building organization, and he's conducted lectures and workshops in India, UAE on leadership. In fact, soft skills for corporate organizations and youth is something that he's been doing. He also teaches at various B schools as a visiting faculty. He advises startups at various stages of growth and is also a mentor at the ISB TEB, which is the Technology Entrepreneurship Program, since 2016. And he also serves on various advisory boards. So welcome, Major Shirish, on this session today. We have a second panelist, Mr. Venkat Balasubramaniam. Venkat has been a Toastmaster since September 2018. In fact, he's leveraging the platform to refine his communication and leadership skills, essential for personal development and professional development. He is also an ex-TCSer. He's retired from TCS Hyderabad, where he worked in the HR. In fact, he's an avid reader and a contributor. Venkat has, presented English talks on All India Radio. He served as an editor for Toastmaster International newsletters and was also the content manager for the District 98 newsletter. Venkat also has mentored students in youth leadership programs and is a certified trainer from the Indian Academy of Training and Development, which is IATD Chennai. Welcome, Venkat, to this session.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening to all. Thank you for the warm introduction.
My pleasure, sir. About it. So let me, quickly go to the panelists, and I'll like to address, Major Shirish to start with. What happens is, I want to understand which aspects of English or business communication do you think students find the most challenging? Because you're on the other side. This is from the, from the students we heard, but from the other side, which is the, the hiring agency, which is there. What is it that you think are some of the challenges that they face for their job readiness? Can you, give some examples and elaborate, sir?
Sure. Thanks, Jyoti. So, before I dive into what are the specific challenges that people face, let's understand why it's specifically in the Indian context we have these issues. So, there are primarily two things. One is English is not our native language. We are born in India where we have hundreds of languages, and that's the one we grow up learning. Unlike people who are born in the US or UK or a large part of the Europe. So, that is something we cannot do anything about. The second aspect is we do not use English conversationally. So that is a problem that we can fix, right? So like most of us, when we grow up, we speak the regional language or the common language which is being used in the school or our mother tongue. That is what we speak most often, and we do not actually speak English much. So this is the primary reason why we are seeing all these comments and the feedback by all the participants about nervousness, about confidence, vocabulary, grammar. All those things are because we don't practice enough. So that is something that can be fixed. Now coming to your question, Jyoti. So as a recruiter or as an interviewer in Amazon, I must have screened thousands of candidates. Likewise in Adani, and otherwise I interact during my training programs and my corporate trainings and my teachings in various MBA colleges. I come across a large number of students, thousands of students I must have come across till now. So there are a couple of things, three or four things I would like to talk about. The first being clarity and being concise. So a lot of people do not have the clarity of what exactly to be spoken. Whenever, specifically in an interview, when a question is posed to them, they lack that clarity, and if they have certain ideas of what to speak, they fail to speak that in a very succinct and concise manner. So that is something which I find really lacking. Like the confident ones, when they start speaking, they go on speaking, which is not really what impresses the recruiter, right? So that is the first point. The second point is the professional tone and etiquette. So most of the participants here are probably Gen Alpha or Gen Z, right? So these are the people who have grown up glued to the digital devices. They have mobiles in their hands, they have technology, and they have access to the messaging apps like WhatsApp and every other thing, right? So they grow up uh, messaging short words, short text. They create their own abbreviations and everything. So they are used to writing everything in short thing. So this is kind of opposite to what I said in the first point, clarity and conciseness. That is about speaking. So when it comes to the written communication, they really don't want to write much. But in a professional environment, so let's say you're writing your resume or your cover letter, or you're following up with your recruiter or the HR for something. So the mail that you draft or the cover letter that you draft has to be very professional. The tone has to be very professional, and you have to follow the right etiquettes. So that is something that I find lacking in a lot of job aspirants these days. To that extent that I have even seen some job aspirant, send one common email with resume to, let's say, 20 employers, and everybody is in the CC, so everybody knows, yeah, okay, I'm one of those 20 people this person has sent the resume to. And obviously then if I am one of those 20, then I am definitely not going to look at it seriously, right? So this is something which not just borderlines, but this crosses over the basic etiquette of communication. You can't, if you are applying to a company, you have to show that seriousness to that company at least. So this is the second point. The third point I would like to talk about is active listening and feedback. So specifically in an interview, when people are talking about, or when the interviewer is specifically asking them something, a lot of people come prepared for the interview, but the thing is they do not listen to what the interviewer is specifically asking. So they will, go on rattling out the answers that they have prepared, but fail to understand the specific requirement that is being asked. So that brings about a very big disconnect between the recruiter and the candidate who's appearing. So that definitely does not put in the right impression that is required, right? And the final thing I would like to talk about is adapting to the audience. So yes, we all prepare for interview, most of us do prepare for interview, we have these answers, but then we must understand that based on the audience that we have to tailor our answers, right? So for example, if you are interviewing, so I see a lot of these participants are from the tech background, BCA, or there are a lot of engineers. So there are a lot of other people from humanities as well. So like when we are speaking with the recruiter, if he's from the tech background as well, then you can use certain jargons, you can talk about the technical stuff, that let's say you're talking about your internship, so you can talk about a lot of those things, that I have done XYZ, I worked on this technology. However, if you are working, you are in a discussion, initial discussion, or let's say the final negotiation with the HR who's not from the tech background and does not understand tech to that amount of detail, then obviously you should not then try to impress the HR by talking about your technical prowess, right? So there you have to simplify things in the language. Firstly, again, going back to the previous point, active listening, understand what the person is asking, and then relate to that audience, adapting to the specific question, and then responding. So that is something which is very, very important. So one incident I can talk about here is we had a group discussion for a tech hiring, and the candidates appearing were all MBA grads from one of the good institutes. So a bunch of, I think 7 or 8 MBA students, and they were talking about some technical stuff, and they were, talking to, we were a panel of 4 interviewers, moderating the group discussion and doing a selection. So they were behaving as if, the every other person sitting in the room does not know anything about the technology. So they're trying to explain each and everything, but that is not required. You see who's the audience, who's judging you, right? And then accordingly frame your answers. So I think these are the 4 things that I would like to talk about as interviewer or as a recruiter. We feel that these are the specific challenges, and like most of the participants said, the confidence and all, that I would say comes from the first point that I talked about, the lack of enough practice. English not being our native language, about which we cannot do anything, and we don't use English conversationally, which does not make us confident to speak in a day-to-day use. So
Absolutely,
Jyoti,
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
hope that answers the question.
Absolutely it does. In fact, I also feel that I agree with you on this, which is English is not our native language, and I think that is the sole reason we should put in more effort to make sure that we become good at it. In fact, Venkat, you have been on the hiring side, part of the HR. So, related to this, I wanted to understand, most of the students prepare really well for their technical knowledge and making sure that they are thorough with their understanding of what the functions and everything is. But where do you think, or how do you weigh in communication skills, compared to the technical knowledge to get into good roles in a professional setup?
In my opinion, both communication skills and technical knowledge are crucial. Their relative importance are dependent on the roles, the kind of industry, and the culture of the organization where they are going to be employed. The technical expertise is so paramount in software development, engineering, data science, and IT field that the candidates have the strong ability to project their technical skills, certifications, and relevant experience. But coming to the communication part, they should be in sync with that. So what I mean to say, what I mean to say is that this includes explaining the complex concepts to non-technical stakeholders. The people who are on the non-technical side, they should be explained as to what they are talking about, the jargons, or the science, the IT industry, what is being demanding, they should be very clear with the message. So the communication is playing an important role here, because they need to collaborate with the team members, they need to write a clear documentation, they need to communicate with the seniors as well as with the juniors. So here, the communication skills often takes precedence in the manager roles as well. So leaders must inspire, motivate, and manage the teams, requiring strong interpersonal presentations and negotiation skills. So what I feel is that both are important. It's not only the technology, the student should acquire their knowledge after they graduate or postgraduate from the respective streams. But they need to understand, as you had pointed out, that it's English is not a native language, and they should get prepared themselves as to what they are going to perform in the organization. While it is not as critical as purely technical roles, a solid understanding of the relevant technical field can enhance their credibility and also decision making abilities. So what is happening here is that we got different roles, like people who are in sales or the customer support, they should have excellent communication skills to build the relationships or make understanding with the client's needs, or the conveying the value propositions what they are looking for. So in understanding the product or service of the technical team can also give an important advantage for them to have the communication skills as well. So this is what I feel, and even cross-functional skills. So if you have different departments in the organization, you need to collaborate or coordinate with respective team members.
True.
So their communication skills are very crucial, because these professionals must understand the technical details while also effectively communicate with diverse stakeholders. So the what I'm looking for is that the early career aspirants or the freshers from the college, they need to have technical skills, maybe which are weighed more heavily, especially in the technical fields. For non-technical, it is okay, because they know how to work in their respective streams or the job roles. But however, communication skills can distinguish candidates with similar technical abilities as well. So what I mean to say is the technical, most of the candidates I find is that they have technical knowledge, they're able to perform their work or the role being given to them. But at the same time, they should enhance their speaking skills, because it enhances the collaboration or the communication with the team members, and have a bond or understanding with the requirements.
True, true, true. Absolutely, absolutely, Venkat. You're right. One might be absolutely sound with technical skill, but if is not able to project that to the team or to the customer or to the superiors or to the teams, which is the cross-functional teams, I think they would be at a disadvantage. So even if you would have a higher weightage in technical skills, that would only come out if you have good communication skills. Very well said. Very well said. In fact, Hirish, I want to ask you a little bit more about working in
Sure.
teams under high stress situations. Or even interview is a high stress situation. So what are some of how can one manage communication in these situations? And if you could just give us some tips that you suggest that when a person is in an interview or is facing a customer, how should they be prepared to make sure they communicate well?
Yes, you are very right. Interview itself is a stress situation, and a lot of times the interviewers do not actually do anything to help the situation, and at times even aggravate the situation. So, in fact, there is a stress interview also, which a lot of companies do test the candidates on, that they intentionally put the candidates through a lot of stress and see how they behave under stress. So, I can talk about some of those. Examples as well. But the first thing, I mean, before I talk about preparing and tackling this situation, the first thing to remember is you should not panic. Do not panic and stay calm. That is the most important thing. So I think if somebody has read a wonderful book called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that book mentions this. Don't panic. These two words are written on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the actual guide. So that is something we must take to our heart and to our lives, that whatever the situation be, Do not panic. Keep calm. Stay composed. Right. So whatever the question be, stay composed. Keep your calm. Take your time. If the question is something that has caught you off guard, take some time to think. It's not really important to answer the second the question has been asked by the interviewer. Or let's say the customer is talking something, the customer is irritated for some lack of service or product or whatever the case may be. You don't have to immediately react. You can take a few seconds. You can think about what the customer or what the interviewer has asked. Process it in your mind. Take some time. Compose your own thoughts and compose your physical and mental posture as well. So that is something which is very, very important. And you have to portray yourself positively. Like the moment somebody asks you, so I'll give you a very good example. So a lot of us are aware that a lot of companies do group discussions as a method of filtering candidates, right? So give you one topic of group discussion, and you can imagine the reaction of the students. The topic for group discussion was Beethoven or Mozart, and this was for a management hires group interview. So I would like to ask the audience, what would you do if in a group interview you are asked this, you are given this topic, Beethoven or Mozart? How would you react? Would you stay there, walk out, talk something? How would you react? Okay, a lot of people would not even be aware of Beethoven or Mozart. So again, just to give you the context, they were all musicians who used to compose tunes and music. So it doesn't
I
really
see
matter
there is a
whether you know who's
response.
Mozart, who's Beethoven. The interviewer is really trying to see how you react in a situation, right? So in such a situation, they are looking at reactions. Who talks first? What do they talk? Right? So does somebody get up and ask, okay, does anyone have any idea about these two words? What is it? It is name of some compounds or people or places or what? So people are really looking for what exactly is the manner in which the candidates are behaving. So this is one sort of a stress situation which intentionally the interviewers put the candidates into. So like I said, the first thing is to keep calm. Do not panic. Compose your thoughts. In your mind, process what has happened and what should be your strategy. So okay, I have no clue about Beethoven or Mozart. So how do I go about it? Should I ask other people? If anybody knows, okay, then if somebody knows, let's ask them to enlighten so that we can at least have some discussion, right? So people are really looking at how do you react to this particular situation. So that is more important. So now let's come to the question proper as to how do you plan and prepare. So basically you plan, you prepare, and you practice. So these are the three key things that you have to remember and go by if you have to deal with any stress situation. First is plan. Anticipate that any random question, if I have written something in my resume or if I speak any particular word, the interviewer can catch anything from my resume or pick on any word that I've spoken and ask me any question based on that. So you have to plan for everything. Plan is, what do I speak, what do I write down in my resume? That is all planning. Then is preparation. So I have written this, so based on my resume, what I have written, what can the interviewer ask, right? So now that is something that where you go into the preparation stage. Okay, I need to be prepared for this situation, this question, this contingency question can be asked. So that is preparation. So yes, you write one page resume, but probably you have question answers of probably 10 page, wherein you try to plan and prepare for everything that can be asked from your resume. If you have written about certain project, some internship that you have done with some company, some particular technology or some program or some coding language that you have worked on, so be prepared to answer anything about your project, anything about your programming language or code that you have written. So that is your preparation. And then next is practice. Again, going back to what I said, we don't use English conversationally, so that brings about the lack of confidence. So the only way to overcome that the fear, the lack of confidence is practice. Practice, practice, practice. That is the only thing that will see you through this stress situation, right? So again, coming to the customer scenario. So customer scenario, I can probably talk about some of my examples from Amazon. So Amazon customer service is supposed to be the big part. Jeff Bezos says that, Amazon, you must have heard about Earth's most customer centric company is equal to MC Cube, Earth's most customer centric company. So that is Jeff Bezos' motto. And everybody in Amazon is required to work in the customer service for 3 days in a year so that they understand what are the problems being faced by the customers. Does not matter whether you are in fulfillment, whether you are in tech, whether you are in transportation, whatever branch you are in, you need to be with the customer service for minimum 3 days in a year so that you understand the problems of the customer, right? So these are the couple of things that you have to take care, right? So plan, prepare. So there we analyze every problem that comes across in a customer delivery or ordering or platform, and we have n number of responses that in case of this problem, and the aggravation level of customer being low, medium, high, what should be the correct response, right? So we have the entire flow. So that is the level of preparation. So again, when you are dealing with a customer, whether you are in sales or whether you are managing certain projects or whatever, you will have certain issues with the customer, your clients or whatever. So be prepared to answer their questions. Firstly, be aware about your products, about your technology, everything that you are trying to sell, or everything that you're trying to showcase. So that awareness, and then preparation on any counter questions. Or if it is a customer service kind of a role where the customer is irritated or is complaining about something, then you have to be prepared for those questions and have a plan that in case of this problem, what am I going to respond and how am I going to resolve this particular problem. So having that entire plan. So once again, plan, prepare, and practice. These are the three things. And once again, active listening is something which you have to continuously practice. You have to understand what the customer is saying, listen to what the customer is saying, and accordingly respond to that particular query. And one more aspect of communication that I would like to bring about at this point of time is non-verbal communication, right? So non-verbal communication is something that happens through signs, gestures, hand movement, eyes, ears, face, everything. So like all my hand movements, this I am doing. If I am saying 3 points, plan, prepare, practice. So this is all non-verbal communication, right? So this is something that helps you connect with the customer. So let's say a customer is angry and is coming back to you, and you say, oh, okay, so your laptop had a problem. Oh, so what can I do? Did you try restarting the laptop? Right? This is one. And non-verbal communication. Oh, sorry. I'm really sorry for the problem that you have faced. Right? You do these gestures, hand movements. Can I have a look at the laptop? Let me try and diagnose the problem. Right? You lean towards the customer. You have those facial expressions on your face which show the customer that you are concerned. Likewise, in an interview also, when the interviewer is asking you something, non-verbal communication will build upon your answers, will build upon what you are saying if you do it right. But if you do it wrong, or if you're trying to be inconsistent, or if you're trying to fake it, then non-verbal communication is going to give away that this person is just speaking something or has written something on their resume without actually doing it. I come across a lot of resumes which we screen, and then these days we've become so proficient that we don't even have to interview the candidate. Just by glancing at the resume, in 90% of the cases we can make out that okay, he's just written a lot of stuff, let's not waste our time, right? So that comes with experience. But otherwise, non-verbal communication is something that will give away your panic in a stress situation. So again, going back to the first point, stay calm. If you are calm in a situation, if you show that okay, you're trying to process, yes, you have a little bit of smile on your face, that shows the recruiter or the customer that okay, this person is genuine and we are communicating, we are connecting. And in an interview, yes, builds that confidence. in a customer interaction also, it builds that confidence and that connect that, okay, my issues will be addressed. So I think these are the couple of things that I would want to talk about in handling stress situations. So Jyoti, is that okay? Have I missed out something? Would you like to
Absolutely.
add
No,
anything?
you're absolutely, I think you've covered it all. A very wise man once told me, if you keep reacting, you'll never be able to respond. So, rather
Yes.
than reacting to what something is happening, take a time, take a deep breath, count till three, and then you will get all the answers. The first thing that will happen is the fear will go away of how to tackle. I think very well said. Very well said. I think it's going to be great help for all our students. To take this and all in all the interviews that they're going to face or customer facing, you can prepare yourselves. Like, I mean, just Shirish was talking about, like Venkat was talking about, you can go ahead and understand a little bit more about how do you prepare yourself, how do you make sure you have a head start in your professional life. In fact, we have some TCS iON has a lot of courses which are there on business communication. We have on career enhancement programs. We have career edge program. We have interview preparation programs, certain presentation skills program. Some of them are absolutely free of cost. Some of them are, of course, paid. But go ahead and explore because you are all at that stage where you can build this up for yourself for better success in your professional life. In fact, many of us have aspirations to grow. And we also understand that not everyone reaches there, but there are some people who can, improve their growth prospects. So, Mr. Venkat, I wanted to ask you if you could share some of the examples where communication skills have really helped people who are, willing to go and improve themselves for their growth prospects. So, if you could just share some of the examples that you would have come across in your professional life, sir.
Yes, I had met many people who had studied in their native or vernacular languages, and they had achieved significant career success by cultivating a passion, strong passion to learn and understand the importance of English language. So the passion and interest makes a person go ahead. So it's a fear factor where many of the people are hesitating to come forward. They have the thinking that we are not able to communicate properly. It's a fear factor where that fear makes them stop in progressing in their lives. So I had come across, I can quote two Toastmasters, because I have been a Toastmaster member. I had come across two Toastmasters who had joined as a member, and in this 5-6 years, they had quit the job as a miss who had been engineers. They had quit the job and they become a stand-up comedians, famous Hyderabad stand-up comedians. So that is the passion and interest they learned means in the communication. So what I mean to say is, it's not only converse at home or you're with your friends or in the office. It matters a lot whenever you have a huge network. You go and converse with the people, discuss with the people, have more that means that fear factor from yourself. So what many people think is that since I do not know the English language, I'll not be able to converse. So they'll be just a silent spectator, or they'll not be even listening to what the other people are saying because they'll not be able to understand what they communicate. So I can quote my example as well. I joined Toastmasters about 6 years ago, and with a lot of passion and interest, I've been attending so many meetings. I had improved a lot, and in the communication. So I had given book talks and I'd written a lot of articles. I had been editor for the magazine. So it takes a lot of courage and confidence to be a writer. I mean, it's not that easy because I had gone through the challenges of going through it. Unlike the present, the generation, they have got all the tools on hand. So those days, when I used to write to the newspapers or the magazines, I used to write handwritten, and I used to have a dictionary beside me. Look out for the words. Now you got the Google or the whatever tools you got. You can go through all the tools to find out what are the words to be used in the conversation. It's not only a communication by verbal. It's a communication in the business communication. What it means is you need to have proper understanding of the language to present to the customers or write to your stakeholders. So you need to understand what the customers or the stakeholders are inquiring with you and what is it you are going to inform them by way of communication. So you need to understand the message. So that means you need to do a lot of homework in preparing yourself. So you need to know the words and the pronunciation or the words wherever you have to use it properly at the appropriate place. So if you use a different word altogether, the meaning changes and the communication will be altogether different. So you'll not be able to have a proper network with the clients or the customers. So you would need to have about I can say you need to have a lot of dedication and proactive approach to in learning so that you can bridge the gap and lead impressive career achieve advancements. So I had achieved a lot in this because better late than never is my policy. So I never regret for that because I was not that good in communication in English and all, but over a period of time I have developed this because I started writing. Practice. I started preparing speeches. I used to write and get it mentored. I used to write the words because with the grammar, with the usage of words, I used to put the appropriate words wherever it's required. So, and I'll not be using a lot of jargons as well, because if you use jargons, you'll not be able to understand. The other person will not be able to get the proper message what you are trying to explain. So you cannot be a hi-fi English communication person. You have a normal range of communication where you have the appropriate words, simple words. Let us not make it complex. That is the mindset you should have. If you have if you use a lot of jargons and you complex the situation, the people will not be able to understand, and it will be too long to resolve the issues, and it will be a challenge for you. So what I advise to all the people is that you do a lot of with a lot of passion and interest. You need to deep dive into that. If you, until you don't deep dive, you don't practice it, you'll not be able to make it perfect.
Great. I think that's fantastic. And Venkat, like you said that, while you are also starting off, it might still be a little awkward, but you have to realize that as you grow in an organization, it's only your team building skills, your communication skills that are going to help. So you better start today if you want to reach somewhere in your life. I think very well said. Even if you're a little hesitant, you're not sure, go ahead and embark on that journey. I think that's absolutely what all the audience should be considering. We saw there are people who are from technical, non-technical, all kind of backgrounds that are there. Even if some people are in the technical role, but they are or studying technical piece, which is there, they might not be interested in technical piece, or they're very good in some of the communication aspects, maybe writing, verbal, or other aspects which are there. So I wanted to ask Major Shirish, are there any specific roles in which communication is the prime or the first requirement, and what are some of the skills apart from this that can be used in these kind of positions?
So, like Venkat mentioned, like you require communication for everything that you are doing at work, right? So that is definitely there, irrespective of what job, what function you are in, you do require good communication skills. But coming to your specific questions of specific jobs related to communication skills, let's say there are people from the humanities background, or let's say there are people from the tech background, but then they are not able to they don't want to continue in tech and want to switch over to certain other aspects. So there are certain roles wherein your communication skills becomes the core for you to get that job. So in communication related jobs, I will talk about two things. One is where you are required to write, and the other is where you are required to speak, right? So when it comes to writing, so let's say you have a tech background also, you can become a technical writer as well, which is a very big opportunity. So you can be a technical writer where you are writing some technical manuals or the standard operating procedures for machines or softwares, or like if you go to any of these sites like Microsoft site, you go to the Excel page or any other page, so they have so much of documentation. All that has been written by techies and not by non-techies, right? So all that requires a person who is aware of the technology. Likewise, if you're trying to learn some coding languages, let's say Python and all, so they have all these repositories are being written by technical people only. So that is a very big opportunity, right? Let's say you are not a techie, or you are a techie but are not really interested in that. I have been approached by a lot of people. So there was this girl in Hyderabad who approached me that, I joined engineering because everybody else was joining and my parents wanted me to become an engineer. But then 3 years down the line, I have realized that, coding is not my thing. I cannot do coding and I want to switch over to some other role. So can I get into Amazon customer service roles? Right. So there might be a lot of situations wherein you have gotten into the engineering, or let's say BE or BTech or BCA MCA, but then you realize that it's not really your cup of tea. So then you can get into a lot of other roles, right? So for example, when I talk about specifically writing, so you can get into, other than technical writing, you can get into the customer service roles, where in Amazon, like, we have three channels. One is the chat, the email, or both these channels require you to write. Chat is real time, the customer is writing and you have to respond in real time. Email still gives you some breather that you can read the email, process it, and research a little bit and respond after a few minutes or half an hour also, right? And the third one is call. I'll come to that a little later. So since I'm talking about the written communication, so you can get into the customer support roles, and there is a lot of growth in those roles also, specifically in companies like Amazon, where customer service is one of the big things, right? So you are not really just responding to customer complaints, but are also trying to reduce. So the customer service folks also take on projects. They identify areas that these are the repeated things that are happening, so something can be automated. So they work with the tech teams. So they're also, if you're having a basic understanding of technology, that will help you conceptualize the project, that will help you conceptualize the solution better and work better. So that really helps you communicate with the tech team better, and grow in your career to a much larger way, right? So you can get into the customer support. If you're not from the tech background, you can get into content writing. We have a lot of content that is being generated, articles, blogs, right? A lot of companies are having social media presence, so managing their Instagram pages, their LinkedIn pages, their Facebook pages, everything else is being managed. So you have content writers who are writing all of these content, and delivering it to all these clients. So that is one. Copywriting is a little bit more technical, where it's not just writing content, but you are creating something which can be copyrighted. So specifically, like the jingles for certain ads or some product taglines, a lot of these things. So these require not just communication, but a lot of creativity as well, right? So that is something. You can get into literature, you can get into journalism. All these require you to write a lot, right? And then when it comes to the spoken part of communication, well, you can be a trainer like me, right? So if I am not able to speak fluently, if I cannot talk, how can I be a trainer or a mentor or a coach, right? So you can become a trainer like me. You can get into HR, into L&D, right? You can get into media, become a RJ. Couple of my students have my MBA students, after doing MBA, have become RJs,
Yeah.
right? So who have done
So
their
we've seen IIT IIMs write novels.
yeah. Oh yeah, one of my batchmates, Ravinder. A lot of you would have heard about Ravinder and read a lot of his novels. He writes all the love stories. Uh, what I don't really read those kind of novels, but I think Can Love Happened Twice. I Too Had a Love Story. I think all these are the novels which have been written by Ravinder. So again, he's my batchmate at Pure Techie, but into literature writing. So okay, so that is you can get into media, TV, RJs. You can get into public relations, managing social media for clients, right? And again, the customer service, the call aspects, right? So you can get into so many roles if you have good communication skills, right? So these are the roles that require core communication skills. And like Venkat said, there are a lot of roles wherein, in addition to your basic function, if you are good in communication, you have the chance to grow exponentially. A lot of these roles are something like your sales. Now sales can be, it can be retail sales or institutional sales, whether you are into a luxury brand selling Rado watches or Rolex, or you are into insurance, or you are into banking. Sales is a very big part of it. Then you come to digital marketing, managing the digital marketing strategies, right? Communication design is something which is a very big aspect. So a lot of these graduates from NID and all the design institutes are now specializing into communication design. So communication has become a very big part of the design itself also these days, right? So most of these good design schools have a course specific specialization in communication design. So how should a brand communicate to the audience? So that is a very big part. So in addition to learning design, in addition to learning all the aspects of product design and the visual aspects, you are also learning and implementing the aspects of communication. So that is something. Advertising, human resource, you can be an event manager. Again, in event management, you have to run the operation smoothly, but unless you can talk to the clients, you will not get orders, right? So I can go on about the need of good communication skills in all the other roles as well, but I think we have covered a lot of ground, and I have given you a good idea of what all can you do in core communication and what all can you do with communication as a added skill in addition to your core skills. So yes, it's a
Absolutely.
very important aspect and you must strive to improve upon it. Thank you.
Great, great. I think that's a good list. I hope all the audience has made a note of it, which are the ones that are there. But, sometimes what happens is we get into the thing that we've been communicating since we were a kid. Do I really need to learn about it? I can do all these jobs which are there, but there are multiple situations where we do have communication. In fact, my next question to Venkat was on the similar lines, picking it up, because Major Shirish mentioned social media. So Venkat, I have some a question around it. There is a difference in the way business communication happens on a social media, which is in individual capacity. What's the difference between that versus a corporate or a brand post on a social media? It just got me thinking from what Major Shirish was asking.
Yes, Miss, I can say there is a huge difference between the corporate communication and as well as the individual communication, where we have got a lot of information being flowed means in all the multimedia level. So in a corporate, what the main idea and strategy is to have the brand of the organization. They all these designers or the posters, they've got a separate communication team where they have this scope of developing the art of creating new what do you call new innovative ideas. They come up with the branding of the corporates. Over a period of time, they bring out new designs of the corporate, or the symbol or the emblem, and also the purpose and the tone is totally varying. So in the corporate level, you have this the brand being done for the purpose of branding their organization. So when you have the branding of organization, there is a specific goal. You need to market about the organization. It includes a lot of information, promotions being done on the industries, the industrial insights also, because many of the information being given about the corporates to the public, it gives a lot of insights to the public. So the way of presentation also, it varies. So this type of communication, it makes a huge impact on the audience. The way you present, you have been seeing a lot of ads, what Shirish had mentioned, there's a lot of scope in the ad field or the media field communication, where we can diversify in the roles as per our requirements. If you are passionate about it, you can do wonders about it. So what I mean is the primary purpose of the corporate branding is to promote their products or services, enhance the product visibility to the audience or the market, build a customer relationship, and aim for engaging the audience. It drives the website traffic in a huge format. You got so many multimedias being exhibited. You are exhibiting your products as well. So what I mean is it leads a lot of marketing strategies and it ultimately converts the followers into the customers. So that's what the corporate look into. Their content is strategic, it's planned strategically with a content calendar. They have a specific calendar, unlike the personal one, which I'll be talking to you. The posts or that are being timed and crafted to maximize the reach and alignment to engage the audience. So brands use the analytics measure to perform as well as to understand the needs or the pulse of the customers. So they need to optimize their strategy as well. So they focus on the metrics like engagement or the reaching out to the audience in totality, wherever the audience, based on their local people's requirements. So need to cater to different segments of the people as well. So that also they need to keep it in mind, and they have a lot of impressions which are being converted into their goals. And coming to the individual, the media, where the Instagram or the Facebook, or you have got LinkedIn. LinkedIn, of course, mostly is of the promotion of your business or your engagements with the customers. You need to develop a networking with the like-minded people, so that you can connect with the people and get the requirements. If you are looking for the customers, or the people are looking for you as an expert, being expert, subject matter, you can brand yourself in LinkedIn and promote your products or goods services. But individually, when it comes to the people who are using the Instagram or the Facebook or other social medias, it's mainly to show their personal achievements, their opinions on the current events, or they share their hobbies, what they are doing, mostly of kitchen or gardening or painting or drawing or whatever it is, their interest. To spontaneous, it's all spontaneous thoughts. It comes on of a sudden. The trigger in their mind is suddenly ask them to post their particular thing in the media, in Instagram or Facebook, to attract the people. So what is all happening is that it's all spontaneous thoughts. It's not planned. Unlike in the corporate, they have a planned calendar. Here is a huge difference is that. So the posts are often aimed at engaging trends, the latest trends, or the family or the personal followers, to keep to showcase their talents, and fostering a sense of community and connection. So they need to have connect with the friends or with the relatives to showcase all their talents, whatever they have. So professionals might use the social media to build their personal branding, as a showcasing their expertise, achievements, and their professional interests as well. So the posting is usually less structured in or more spontaneous in nature. So the focus is on the personal engagement and interactions, rather than achieving specific business objectives, unlike in the corporate world. So the main key differences I can quote is that corporate posts are prioritizing they're having the consistency, their brand alignment, while the individual posts prioritize authenticity and personal expression. So spontaneity and planning means that the individual post can be spontaneous, as I told you, it can be varied, whereas in the corporate it is strategically planned and targeted at the specific audience.
Fantastic.
And the content may be of a personal content in the personal achievements or the showcasing. But as I mean to say, it's a huge impact which engages the audience. It's a different audience altogether. So different people have different passions and interests. So those people who are interested in specific areas, they align to that particular the communications which has been posted in the social media or in the Facebook as well. So corporates has it's their own way of doing and planning their own of activities, and we got, as Shirish told, we have got huge opportunities to explore in the corporate communication as well, in designing or rolling out their videos or information about the corporates. We can learn a lot of new things in the corporate communication.
Fantastic.
Okay. I think I had answered all your question.
Absolutely, Venkat. You have, we've learned quite a lot today about various aspects of communication, the need of English, or rather, let's put it this way. How do we use communication skills or better communication skills to enhance for people who've written, where can I get a job? Will I get an interview? We have a job listing platform. I hope you guys have gone and applied there. Please go and apply. There are thousands of jobs there. So I have a question which is very pertinent that is there from Muhammad Nasser Ahmed Ansari, who says that I have good communication skills with people, but I have fear. What should I do? Would any of you like to take that up?
I suggest that you need to practice on your own. You stand in front of your mirror, prepare the script, practice a lot, deliver, or you can even record your video and see how you are performed. Probably you can get some suggestions or the feedbacks from your friends or your family members. You can get them mentored, so you can observe how you are in front of the stage, how you are presenting uh, your speech or your narration, how is your body expression, how is your body language, how is your eye contact. So you need to give a lot of importance to all these aspects, like verbal communication and non-verbal communication. There's very huge difference is there, and we need to understand. So you using verbal communication, you need to practice a lot in preparing and delivering. So as long as you prepare the speeches, you record it, and you see multiple times, stand in front of your mirror. You have some pictures in front of you, assuming those people are talking are seeing, observing you. To quote one example, I when I was giving my live program in All India Radio, there were no audience at all. Unlike, means we are also on the face to face on the online, or we are on the stage. But when I was in All India Radio, there was just four walls. That's it. So I imagine the audience. I prepared myself, and I delivered. So you need to practice a lot. So as Siddhi has told, practice, practice, practice. You need to get rid of that fear. What you do is, in front of your family members, you give a speech, ask them to record, you call your neighbors, your friends, your college friends, whoever it is, assemble 10-15 people. You give a topic, ask one person to give a topic. You can have a call for this, a talk for about 2 to 3 minutes, or whatever is the timeline, 5 minutes. Prepare it, deliver it, and record it. And you observe, you take feedback from each and everyone, because constructive feedback is very, very important. You feel that you delivered the speech and went, but you do not know what is the feedback, how we were on the stage, how we have performed, how our actions. So everything matters. Your eye contacts with the people, your body gestures, your body language, everything matters. So you need to practice a lot. So I have been practicing giving the speeches. Giving a speech in front of an audience is not a joke. And I won the table topic session for 2 minutes in front of 500 plus audience, and that was the very first time. So of course we have butterflies in the stomach, we have fear. To get rid of that fear, you practice a lot. Morning 10-15 minutes, you be in the silent zone, you meditate, you be calm, and you get rid of that fear over a period of time. It's not that easy to get rid of the fear as easily told. You need to practice a lot. So you
Absolutely.
practice, you will definitely make it possible.
Fantastic, fantastic. I agree, and I'll again use what Major Shirish said: plan, prepare, practice. So I think that would be fantastically put across.
Jyoti, I think I would like to add something here. First thing to do would
Please.
be analysis. So, like he said, he has good communication skills. So, communication has multiple aspects to it. So, first understand what are the aspects that you are good at. Why do you say you are good at communication? So, at the one hand, you are saying that you are good at communication, and at the other hand, you are saying that you're not able to speak. So, there are different aspects. So, do you have that clarity of thought? Why do you say you are good? Because you have the clarity of thought, or whether you can write well, or you can speak well when nobody is listening. So figure out what is it that you are really good at. Figure out what is it that you struggle with, right? And figure out what is it that is kind of your absolute Waterloo. So let me tell you, things can improve. All of you must be thinking that I am speaking very well, and I have been talking through this entire webinar. But let me tell you, about 20-25 years back, if you had put me on stage or in front of any audience, I would sweat like a fountain. Literally, I would
Yeah.
sweat like a fountain. Right. So
Yes.
it's from there to here when I'm sitting comfortably. And now is the stage that, you put me on stage, there are 50 people, 500 people, 5,000 people. It does not matter. Right. So you understand the different aspects, you understand your weaknesses, you understand the lacunas, the improvement areas, and try and improve upon it one by one. You will not get from here to here in one go, right?
Right.
True.
Understand what are the lacunas. For a week, 15 days, a month, practice one thing, then the other thing. Slowly and slowly, you will get there. It will not happen overnight. So be at it, be persistent, and go about the entire process in a very, very methodical manner.
Sure. But just one last thing before winding up that is there. Uh, in the entire session today, the importance here is for you to get and gain ways to become more, efficient, effective as a communicator to get a job that is there. The session today is built around from the perspective of what is it that can get you to the next level. So please go through what we have discussed. There are lists of all the sessions that you can be a part of. Sonali has shared that. So be a part of that. Go and register. Like both the panelists said, identify where you lack, go and make sure you build up on that that is there. So though we have a lot of questions, unfortunately, because of paucity of time, we'll not be able to take it up. But I like to thank both of you panelists here, Major Shirish, Venkat. Thank
Can
you
I
so
take just
much for
1 minute,
joining in.
please?
Yes, please. Final words for you,
Yeah,
please.
no, not final was just something about the social media aspect that Venkat was talking about. So
Right.
a lot of us are talking about jobs and getting ourselves ready for job. So do remember your LinkedIn is your personal brand. Build that up very, very nicely. So that is also part of your communication, your personal communication. So like corporates do their own strategy, you build your LinkedIn as your personal brand. So if you see, I have built my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is purely professional. And not just that, in addition to LinkedIn, all my other profiles. So on all the platforms, whether it is LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Quora, Reddit, whatever, be it any platform, on all the platforms, you will find me as Major Shirish Patil, MAJSHIRISHPATIL. You do LinkedIn / Major Shirish Patil, Instagram / Major Shirish Patil, you will get to me. So that is how you create your own brand, right? And have relevant content there. So whatever you are trying to project, have the relevant content there. If you have done some internship, showcase everything on LinkedIn, and that will improve your job prospects. That will help you first also sort out your resume. So because when you start writing on LinkedIn pages, it will give you some idea as to how you can get some content from there onto your resume, right? You can write a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, but a very limited stuff on your resume, right? So use
Absolutely.
LinkedIn as your personal brand as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great tip for all our audience that's there. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining in. And thank you, the audience, for joining today. We've been talking for the last 1 hour to give you insights of how you can better your communication. Hope we've been able to add value. You can go ahead and explore more about these. The links have been given to you, all of you. If you have any queries that are there, you can write to us. The email address is going to be put in the chat bot right now. So once again, signing off, and thank you all for joining in this Thursday evening. We see you in the next session that's there. I hope we've been able to give you an insight on how can you better your communication skills and become average, from average to awesome. Thank you for joining in, everyone.